That's fine. He didn't want to be Prime Minister of England anyway. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get on. The church was going to get it on. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend. We love that about you, right, Gina Grad?
That's right.
Handball, Brian.
In this house, love is welcome.
It's the era of proclamations, everybody. All right, so I went to Seth MacFarlane's birthday party over the weekend at a swanky Sunset Boulevard hotel. That's where he does it. Normally has the band playing, the orchestra.
Is this different than the backyard big band extravaganza?
Is that a Christmas party?
The Christmas party is big and star-studded. This is more intimate with the band as well.
Tighter guest list.
Smaller Mangria booth.
Right.
And it's also a lot of employees and folks that work on his various projects.
Right off.
Yes. So you see less recognizable people, but more interesting people maybe when you talk to them and you find out that, oh, yeah, I met Seth when he was 24. I was there first season of Family Guy and back in the old place on Laurel Canyon. Across from Gelson's.
Sure.
Now down a little closer to the freeway. And I was like, I remember I went there and me and Doris Roberts recorded Death Lives and blah, blah, blah. So a little walk down memory lane. But
speaking of his old friends, I'll take a shot in the dark. Was Walter Murphy there? Fifth of Beethoven, Walter Murphy, who does like the music or did the music. I mean, he's known him since like season 1.
I don't know.
You remember Fifth of Beethoven?
Fed the
the funky
the
disco,
song.
yeah.
That Walter
Sorry.
Murphy. Yeah,
Yes.
that guy's got to be 80.
Maybe he was. Yeah, when I met him here in the 90s, he was like in his 50s, maybe 60s.
Yeah, it was. He did a 70s disco version of Beethoven, which was a big hit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if I
you were just talking about
recognized him.
people who knew, Seth for years.
Yeah, I did, but I didn't recognize Walter Murphy, but I talked to a few people.
Okay. So back on track.
One of the first guys I ran into was Jordan Rubin. Jordan's a comic. He's now a director and a writer, and he came on the show before to talk about this Killer Beaver movie. And a couple years ago, and worked with him at the Man Show all those years. And Jordan and I always got along. And so I was talking to Jordan, and then Jordan was talking to another gentleman, a couple years older than he, and he was explaining. He introduced me to the guy, and the guy said, I came out here to Los Angeles when I was like 19, my first job. Maybe 20. My first job was with Hustler magazine.
Oh.
And I said, Hustler. And I think he said, I said, what did you do at Hustler at 20? And he said, I did the cartoons. I was like in charge of the cartoons.
Second best part of the magazine.
And I was like, good, Jordan, you got your phone out, right? He's like, yep. I go, just Google in Hustler racist cartoons. And he did.
Look familiar?
And he was like, oh my God. Yeah. And I was like, this guy, this was the maestro behind the symphony of racism. This is the guy who did that. And the guy's like, I didn't draw anything. I didn't have it, and so Jordan was like, holy shit. Oh my God. I've never seen something like this.
A shameful history.
And so, as we discussed on this podcast before, everyone remembers Hustler, but they forgot the crazy racist cartoons. Oh, yeah. Crazy racist
brought them to our
cartoons.
attention.
Yeah, we
They're
buried those
nuts.
deep in our subconscious.
And I remember them very clearly. I remember one that isn't that racist, but somewhat.
Well, the only reason I thought that you were lying was because we know everywhere you look, everything's racist. Everything's a nail to you and your hammer.
Well, it's interesting because when there was real racism, you could spot it. Now it's just some female senator talking about why gas-powered cars are racist or something like that, and you go, I don't see. COVID is racist. Yes, COVID is racist. Climate is racist.
It knows?
Climate is racist. It's like now I have actual illustrations of a giant cockroach mounting a black woman and the put upon husband coming home from work, the black husband coming home from work, only to see her his black wife, who's being nailed by this giant cockroach.
Boy.
And then the other one, which always made me laugh, which was all it was an illustration of a white guy and a black guy wearing basketball shoes with their basketball trunks around their ankles. It didn't go up higher than the waist, and it just, the white guy had a little penis, and it said Larry's Bird, and then next to it said Magic's Johnson.
Oh, that's
and he
good
had
stuff.
a huge dick hanging down.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Good family fun.
So, so Jordan starts skimming through this thing, and he was like, "Oh shit!" And I said, I had a recollection of us looking it up a year and a half ago, and it was difficult to find this stuff on the internet. And he said, "Nah, it's all here." And I thought, why was it kind of hard for us to find? And he's just standing out on a patio eating a pig in a blanket, and it's all on his phone. Well, things have changed. That's
the dam's broken.
That's what happened. And then comically, as the night wore on, every time this guy broke off to go talk to somebody, I would then walk into the conversation and go, you know what this guy is.
You want to see someone's work?
Yeah. He had a laugh about it.
I bet.
I assume. But so we have some of these newer ones. Newer cartoons.
Oh.
Newly found.
Like unearthed.
Unearthed. And
oh my God.
Jesus Christ.
well, who would like to describe this?
1, 2, 3, not it.
Brian?
Okay, go ahead.
It's the just married trope where like the happy couple is driving off with in this case it's a Klan couple. They are wearing hoods and being sent off by a whole bunch of other Klansmen saying, "Oh, fare thee well." Just married in the back, dragging behind not cans but 2 black people.
Yeah.
2 black dead.
That was one of the ones Jordan pulled up. And
wow.
Oh my God.
Holy crap.
now he said,
What's funny about
They're
this?
all in hoods.
I can't be like, I get it. Okay, but that's pretty funny. This is fucking insane.
this is what the Klan would do if they were cartoonists. So then
Chrysler Baron?
Then
Is this from the dark web?
well, I'll tell you what happened. So he was pulling these up, and I was showing it to him and going, Jordan, that's what this guy was doing. That's what he came out to L.A. to do this.
Oh, wow.
All right.
Another one.
Again, not that funny. Ginny, your turn.
Okay.
More Klansmen.
Yeah, there's a car parked in a really, really bad neighborhood, really run down, and 2 kind of, I don't know, James Spader from Pretty in Pink looking guys. And then a bunch of Klansmen surrounding the car with baseball bats and nooses and shotguns. And it says, "I never worry about parking my car in this neighborhood. I use the club."
And then there's also black people scared peeking out
behind the
around
light
corners and light posts and things of that nature. So this is what they would do. They would do, or do we have one more? They're very
We have 6.
racist
There's
cartoons.
there's one hiding in the bodega, too.
Yes. Let's see. This is, black man being arrested by cop, covered in blood.
Oh, my God.
Okay, I see what's
So
happening
he just
here.
walked out of a liquor store where he shot everybody.
Well, the
I
liquor
guess.
store is full of dead bodies and blood everywhere.
That
There's
he
been a massacre.
Right.
presumably killed them.
Yeah, because he's
Right.
covered in blood, too.
So he's being cuffed by the police, and he says, "Ouch, ow, hey, you're hurting my wrist." And then some black onlookers are saying, "Hey, look, they're hurting his wrist. Yeah, brutality." Well, he presumably just shot everyone inside.
Right. So the black man who killed everyone in liquor stores worried about his wrist when he slaughtered a bunch of white people.
Is this from,
a
like, the
blonde
David
inside.
Duke
There's a
Daily?
blonde, hopefully it's strewn over the counter.
Yeah, shot up.
This is truly from Hustler magazine.
I know. You used
Race
to hold them
Hustler
in
magazine.
Holy crap.
used to hold them in such high regard.
But there's
right?
nothing like fun, like Playboy comics, like fun and sexy.
Well, what I'm trying to explain is this stuff doesn't go back to the 40s. This stuff goes back to the 80s.
Yeah, this strikes me as kind of 80s. You know, not
Well,
super
in
old.
the Klan one, the guy's driving a 5.0 convertible Mustang, which was from the 80s. So this isn't even into the 70s.
And the club didn't really come around until
the
1990.
80s and 90s, yeah.
Yes, 80s, 90s. Yeah, mid or later 80s, probably. All right, anyway.
So just to figure figure
This
out where
is
the
modern era stuff.
so we can all figure out where the line is. I think all three of us in this room we're all on the same page that this is fucking insane and
is
horrific.
crazy.
Yeah, and you can say, Hustler's not mainstream, but it's mainstream in that everyone knows what it
Yeah, of
is,
course.
and it's on every newsstand and every 7-Eleven, and this is what's inside of it. So we had a lot more racism back there, and it was overt, and now we're at a place where people are just explaining to you it's still there. It's just not overt. And my thing with that is well, then it's my arsonist argument. He's an arsonist in his heart, but he's never struck a match. And then my thing is, well, then I'm not interested because I don't care how many arsonists in their head.
Right.
I'm going to talk about actual fires.
And all the people in this cartoon are basically drawn like Fat Albert.
Gross caricatures.
Yeah.
This
Yes.
is disgusting and offensive. Chris, can we see the rest?
Yeah, please.
There's more?
There's more. This is
Oh, Jesus.
Ah.
Oh, my God.
Okay.
this is two black men who have been lynched in adjacent trees, 8 feet apart, and they've been fashioned into a hammock by swinging their feet together and lashing them together. And a Klansman's reading the sports page and drinking a beer, using the two black men as a lynched hammock.
Oh, my
Who
God.
drew this shit?
Well, we're going to find out. Now,
This isn't even clever.
there's a story.
This is fucking sick.
Now, this guy, all right, stop feigning the outrage.
No. Because I'm trying to make your point. When we say, I don't know, that's racist, that sounds violent, that sounds intolerant. No, you have no go find yourself an old Hustler comic if you want to know what's racist and violent.
This
Please.
is marginally clever. Gina, can you read the caption in Minnesota mom voice?
Uh-oh, Howard, looks like this area has black bears.
And that's
says
two
the
polar bears.
The two,
Seeing that there are black bears
Oh,
down below.
and they're tagging the
spray painting, tagging the rocks.
Right.
That's clever.
All right. So, look, some of them were good. Now, I said, how did this process work? He said, well, I would bring these cartoons up to Larry Flint's office. Larry would sit there with this big bodyguard behind him. And then he said he would never laugh. He'd just go thumbs up or thumbs down.
That's all he could do.
And he'd
do,
just
yeah.
approve or disapprove. And if they approve, they'd go right into the magazine. Not maybe in the director's cut of The People versus Larry Flint, but I don't remember this being highlighted in the film.
Milos Forman left that on the cutting room floor.
Were there any black models in Hustler?
Had to have been.
Few and far between. If they served a purpose, like an interracial lesbian pictorial, something a little more naughty
Like
than too
Black
white.
History Month.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
doubt they acknowledged Black
For
History Month.
February's issue only. All right. So, but what is the story?
we have more?
Who drew these? We have two more?
Yeah, if you want.
Yeah.
More than
All
anything in
right.
the world. Mm-hmm. All right. Okay, that's not me. 1, 2, 3, not it. Chris, anybody?
I can't read.
It
Neither.
is a black man and a white woman, and the guy, the priest, says, I now pronounce you N-word and white, and white trash. Yes, I couldn't read it under there.
She can just be white.
And
Yeah.
he has a fade that is absolutely mid to late 80s.
That
Yes.
is kid and play.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, so this is well into the 80s, everybody. All right, last one, Chris, then.
Oh, that was all
not
sick.
Oh, that was
Thank
all
you,
sick.
Christ.
All
That
right.
one's not
Thank
good.
you.
All right, doesn't
Stop saying my name in this segment.
it got worse than what I'd originally laid out? My
That was
case?
downright quaint. The cockroach.
Yes, and then our first batch, because
Right.
they've unearthed more of these.
Guess so.
And there's a newer. So I said to Chris, to his great insult, by the way, I said, Jordan Rubin found this thing on his phone like really fast. And we were searching. What happened? What's the difference? And the difference is the artist.
Who published them?
No, he published new material
No.
and was selling it as an NFT and was wildly successful until
Oh, no. It came up and bubbled to the surface.
somebody found out about this.
Yeah.
So what's that story?
Yeah, so after taking huge offense about Jordan Rubin finding these pictures way faster than us, I looked into it. And so, yeah, within the last year, about a year ago, this guy named George Trosley, he created an NFT project with his son called Jungle Freaks.
Oh boy!
And it was 10,000 generative zombie ape NFTs.
So the zombie NFTs were real popular,
Yeah.
and the ape ones were real popular.
That's right. Yeah. So the collection sold out on Mint and was a huge success until Twitter and a lot of people resurfaced some of Trosley's old work from the 70s, which were these cartoons. And not long after these cartoons resurfaced, the NFT collapsed basically to about a fraction of its price. So what's interesting about this is Elijah Wood was one of the guys who purchased one of these NFTs.
Uh-oh.
He tweeted it, "Hey, just purchased NFT artwork of a golden zombie bust. And loving my golden zombie. Thank you, Jungle Freaks." And then the cartoon shows golden zombie that he purchased. Well, everybody tweeted at Elijah going, "Dude, this guy's racist. This guy's been racist," and shared all the stuff. So Trosley's son, who refers to himself as the Prince,
Sure.
he went out and here's his explanation. Quote, "The cartoons my father drew are terrible. They were brought to light, and there hasn't been a better time to accept responsibility, learn from it, and extend my sincerest apologies. The Trosley family does not support or condone racism. I/we apologize to the holders of Jungle Freaks, our Discord community, and the world at large for having to experience these past transgressions from the 1970s. But we thank the community for bringing about a teachable moment for myself and my father. This was the culture Larry Flynt and Hustler published. It was incorrect then, and it's incorrect now. My father should not have participated in this."
Yeah, you got to distance
Apology
yourself.
not accepted.
Oh,
Everyone's
come
still
on.
very mad. And Elijah Wood ended up selling the NFT.
At a loss.
Yeah. So and here's was Wood's next tweet. "After previously purchasing some NFTs as well as being gifted one, I was made aware of some of the artist's prior disturbing cartoons. Upon learning of this, I immediately sold the NFTs as I wholly denounce any form of racism." And then Elijah donated the money to Black Lives Matter and the Legal Defense Fund for the NAACP.
He's got that Lord of the Rings money.
Yeah, that's a good PR move. That's exactly what he needed to do.
All right, so that's why there's a whole cache of these things that are now
That
out.
makes a lot of sense.
People went digging,
Home sleuths.
yes, and found this. So, but I found the guy.
Wow.
A complicated history,
Yes, and
to say the least.
it took me about 3 seconds to get from I worked for Hustler in the early 80s to me getting to the cartoons to Jordan getting to the pictures.
To ruining his night
That's-
and terrorizing him.
Falling
That's
around
right.
the party.
Now, he's a real nice guy who was 19 or 20 and had no idea what was going on. But that's the history of Hustler.
Damn.
Crazy, right?
Those were wilder than you could have described.
Yeah.
One could have described.
Because it's not like, okay, I get it. Like, that's pretty funny. It was
Well,
bizarre.
but back to modern day, when I've said there's never been a better time to be an actual racist, like when I say these racist cartoons, it's like, okay, what's now? What AOC are you going to tell me is problematic about something from the? No, this is the real deal,
this is
man.
bad.
All right, Vinnie Tortorich is on line one because he went out and did the 12-hour walk. I'm curious about
right.
that. Vinny?
Hey, man, how's it going?
Good. You went out and did the 12-hour walk?
I did. It didn't take much for me. I was listening. As soon as I heard you talking about the guy, you didn't even say the guy's name. I went, oh, Colin O'Brady, because guys like me follow guys like that, right? And I remember when he and Louis Roy were doing that back in, I think it was 2018. I don't really know. It was around 2018. I was still in L.A. And I was like, oh, great. I have to listen to that Take a Knee. That's going to be a great one. And then you went on to say, he's telling people you should just walk out of your front door and walk for 12 hours. Now, that spoke to me in volumes, and here's why. I've been laughed at dinner for the past 2 years. My wife brings this up all the time because I keep saying I want to walk out into my own backyard, set up a tent, and just stay in the tent for 2 or 3 days. And everyone gets a kick out of that over dinner. And it's like, why would you do that? You have this beautiful home in this great neighborhood. Why would you do that? It's like, I don't think you understand.
Well, she's got to be all for it.
Go on.
She's got to be all for it.
Serena's down with you out in the yard for a few days.
Well, everybody thinks it's a joke. It's like, what's wrong with you? And it's like, listen, every time I'm on a mountain and I'm camping out for days at a time, I'm comfortable, I'm relaxed, there's no cell phone, there's no electronics, there's no nothing. And I'm never happier. I know we think everything around us make us happy, but every time I'm on, Mont Blanc or even out in Whitney or Baldy or any of those places, I'm happy, right? And, then I started thinking to myself, why do I have to go somewhere to be that happy? I have a backyard. I can just disconnect and go sleep in one of these 12 tents I have in my storage area in my backyard. And then everybody brings up the first question, where are you going to take a shit? Well, I have modern plumbing. I'll come in my house and take a dump and then walk outside again.
Smart.
Vinny,
Right.
I'm going to keep this going. Why don't you put the canoe in your pool?
Oh, sure.
And you go get up in the morning and go
for a
kayak.
ride.
Back and forth.
Okay. I know you're making a joke, but I've done that.
I'm not. I mean, sort of. So,
Well, listen, back, when you live in Woodland Hills, getting to Mother's Beach down in Venice takes a while, right? So a lot of people who paddle will put a boat in water, attach it, tether it to one side, and you're actually, when you think about it, you're pulling harder doing that than if you're out in the ocean.
right. Oh,
So
tethered,
that's how I
right.
used to practice in Woodland Hills.
So the walk, the 12-hour
Okay,
walk.
so I heard about this at about 2 p.m, and I had to tell someone. So I wrote to Gina and I said, Gina, I'm walking for 12 hours tomorrow. You have to tell someone, otherwise you may not do it.
Mm-hmm.
And Gina gave me a thumbs up. So I went, okay. So I got up at 4:30. I ate breakfast. I walked out the front door at a few minutes of 6, and I came back at around 6:20 in the evening. My rules, you said make up any rules you want. My rules were 0 electronics, and I couldn't sit down. So there was no sitting the entire day.
That will not be my rule.
Period. And that's what I did. I started walking. I learned the entire city. I didn't just walk in good neighborhoods. I walked in bad neighborhoods.
Oh, like in the
I
cartoon?
wanted to see what the... Say again, Brian?
No,
Well,
keep
we saw
going.
a cartoon about bad neighborhoods. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I tried to find the worst neighborhoods, and I found out the worst neighborhoods where I live is better than the best neighborhoods where I used to live in California.
Where
which
we
is
live.
odd.
Yeah.
But it was an incredible day. No electronics was the big takeaway. I had songs in my head for part of the time, and there were songs I never listened to. And I could tell you 4 of them right now. One was Jimmy Buffett's Coconut Telegraph. I mean, I haven't heard that since
You can hear
1988.
it on a coconut. Yep, good one.
Chuck Berry's You Never Can Tell.
Oh,
Stayed
good.
in my head for hours.
Mm-hmm.
Rod Stewart's song Gasoline Alley got stuck in my head for way too long. And the 4th one was the Bee Gees' More Than a Woman. And it was entertaining. And I wrote notes along the way. I had the forethought to take a pen and paper. And while I was walking, I would jot down notes of things that I thought of, ways I can make myself better, maybe stuff I could do for my business. I'm telling everyone, do this, but there's a caveat. If you're not in shape, get in shape first. My baseline of fitness is I can walk up Mount Whitney on any given day, which is 22 miles round trip. So if you're not in that kind of shape, work up to it. Do not just walk out of your front door. You're going to hurt yourself.
Really?
So,
Well, what about
yeah,
but what about
go on.
frequent rest stops and you said no sitting was one of your caveats, but if you just said you're allowed to sit and rest whenever you feel like it,
That would work, I guess. If someone wanted to do that.
Well, the only reason I'm pushing back a little bit here is because I feel like everybody is looking for a reason not to do something at all times. And if you add just a little bit of barrier between the action and the preparation, then you just lost 86% of the people who want to do this. And Colin, it was Colin, right, I was speaking to?
Yes, Colin O'Brady.
Yeah, Colin really, and I've gotten into this with people a lot, and Vinnie does it himself, I believe, most of the time, which is you really stress there's no reason why you can't do this starting tomorrow kind of thing. Whatever he said, stop, rest, go into the liquor store, get a water, walk out, do not create circumstances where people will go, that's too much. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, you've changed my mind.
Wow,
you're right. Anyone can do that.
Did you eat?
I took pretty much what Colin took on his trip. I took my product, UltraFat. I'm not here to do an ad for UltraFat, but I had somewhere between 4 and 6 of those throughout the day, and I took a 40-ounce bottle of water and I put some Ultrasalt in that, and that was pretty much it. I did. Fill up water. I did one stop in a coffee shop. It was the only time I spoke all day. I said I would like black coffee, and I noticed that you can pour your own water at the other end of the coffee bar, and I did that. I filled up my 40-ouncer, and that was it. So I had 80 ounces of water. Turns out I walked around 30, I think between 35 and 37 miles.
Yeah,
throughout the whole day.
You texted me, and if memory serves, because the number was so insane, because, I do a lot of things in steps. Oh, it's my step counter for today. He's like, so that's around 75,000 steps.
Damn.
Wow. And you didn't, you could stop, but not sit down. And where else did your mind go? Did it drudge up memories from the past?
I thought about guys I played college football with that I haven't thought about you can always think about the Bobby Bristers and all the guys that, that went on to other things. But I thought about guys I knew in college. I thought about guys I knew in childhood. You dredge up a lot of stuff. Man, it's so cathartic. And I didn't think it would be this way. You think about things you did to other kids when you were a kid that I was thinking of stuff and it's like, man, I wish I could find that kid and apologize. Type stuff. There was a lot of that going on for me.
Yeah, when is the last time anyone has been left alone with their thoughts forget about 12 hours, how about 2 hours minus sleeping?
Yeah, awake.
You know what I mean? In this modern world. You get delayed at an airport for 2 hours, you start running for the newsstand, you start running for the bar, who's got a game on, you know what I mean? And every once in a while, you do get sort of trapped, usually by mistake. Something happens, the car doesn't start or something, you find yourself having to walk somewhere, or your phone runs out of battery, or somehow you're stripped of something. And almost immediately you start going into these better and more interesting places, but somehow we won't tolerate it. So Vinnie, we did a little poll around here, and I think everyone's going to have to commit to a date, because I think the only way to do this is commit to a date and then just tell Gina.
Yeah.
To tell
I'll
other
write it
people.
down. Well, I told you I have 2 dates on the calendar. If it's cool enough weather, I'm doing it November 12th. If it's not, I'm doing it December 10th.
I got to look at, Chris probably has my calendar on there. We have the poll of folks who work in here.
Yeah. So we did the staff poll here. A lot of yeses, some no. So the yeses are me, Byron, Emmy, Richie, Adam at Chassis, and that's it. And then the no's are Ben, Gary, and I have Dawson as a soft no. I don't know what that means.
Well, Dawson wanted to know.
I'd like to do it. I just can't. I really don't think I can fucking disappear for 12 hours. There's too much going on.
Why, Dawson? Why not?
The amount of work that I have to do every day, and my dogs, and it's just I I don't think I can make it happen. I'd like to.
You can't get a friend. If I flew out there and watched the dogs for you, would you do it?
He would do that.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, here's the rule. Here's the rule with everything. Dawson, I give you $10,000 if you can find the time
Totally
to do
do it.
this. All right, well, that's the rule for cleaning your garage or walking for 12 hours. If someone goes, I got to check for 10,000, if the answer is, I shall figure that one out.
The amount of work I can get done in 12 hours greatly eclipses, in my opinion, what I'm going to get out of disappearing for 12 hours.
Well,
Mike,
yes.
Mike, hang on. Adam asked me what I got from this. I'm telling you, the biggest takeaway is I never thought, as much as I've never played a game on my phone or anything like that. I only use my phone for work. My new takeaway is once a week for 24 hours, I'm shutting off all communications with everyone. I can still watch television with my wife, but I won't use a cell phone or a computer or any of that stuff. I'm doing that once a week.
Shabbat.
It's a new thing. You have to be able to do it.
See, I ditch my phone every weekend anyway. I spend at least 24 hours away from it.
All right, but Dawson, your first question was, can I smoke while I'm doing this?
Yeah,
So it sounds a little spurious, your excuses. Look, nobody wants to do it. There's no doubt about it. But there are many things we don't want to do that turn out to be pretty life-changing and pretty good.
My only caveat is I'm going to a better neighborhood.
Did you, Vinny, cross some of the same areas, or did you just go completely into new areas, or did you do some laps around the same block?
No, I walked different areas because I moved to this town right when COVID happened. And, I live near UVA, so I really got to know the campus. There's a few hills, I did some altitude. I probably got 6,000 feet in because I knew where some local mountains are because I go on my mountain bike and hike them and everything else. So I did those sometimes twice. So any looping was done on the mountain just so I could go uphill and come downhill. So I did a couple of those. The only time I really saw people was there's this downtown mall, and I walked down the mall, and there were people. That's where I got the coffee. I knew there was a really good coffee shop there. So, but no, I didn't cross areas twice. And a lot of times I tried to get lost on purpose. Like I went down roads I'd never gone down and just found new areas just all the way around.
So
I suggest this to everyone. I really do.
And listen, this is coming from you who has done this, a version of this many times, this plus with, ultra endurance marathons and things of that nature.
Let me clarify that, how this was different. For every training, and look, I've been on the bike training for 24 hours. I've always had books on audio. I've always had music on top of music. Back in the days of MP3 players, I would have gone nuts if I didn't have enough piggyback batteries to plug into the MP3 player to keep them going through the night. I would have people ride with me through the night. So friends of mine would come out for the nighttime hours and meet me just to ride. And I could have, even in races, in 36 and 40-hour races when I'm on the bike nonstop. At 3 in the morning when I'm falling asleep on the bike, I would have my crew van come up next to me, and I would tell them jokes, just like yuck jokes, like a rabbi and a
like
priest
from Hustler, right?
We know what
We've seen
Just
We've
to
seen
keep
your
talking.
stuff. Yeah, but this was different because you didn't have those distractions.
Zero. You're left. You would be shocked at what happens when you're left with your own thoughts. Well, that's all I'm going to say.
Vinny, for that, you should get a plug. Beyond Impossible. It's available for rent or to buy on Amazon. You'll be glad to know at Seth MacFarlane's birthday party, a delectable tray of slider hamburgers came by. My group sort of stood up, started moving toward, there's some hors d'oeuvres where you move toward the tray
sure.
before it gets
Intercept.
cleaned
Yeah.
out. It was announced that these were Impossible burgers. Everyone went back and sat down. And then 10 minutes later, the real burgers came out, and the same people got up and devoured those. So, there's
people have
hope.
spoken.
There's hope for the universe. Thanks, Vinny. I appreciate you
Thank
being
you,
our
guys.
canary in the coal mine. God bless Vinny. Of course, he was the first one to do it.
Yeah, of course. The next day.
He was already doing it, but he was listening.
Yeah, it's interesting. All right, I suggest it. I suggest everyone try that. Chris, we got to look at my calendar. I don't know what days.
Yeah.
What's
You want to
the?
look at your calendar now? Is that what you're
Well,
saying?
what's? I'm looking at the thing.
I don't know if I have every single one of your dates on the
All
show
right.
calendar.
Well, I'm looking
so-
up at my calendar. We got San Diego coming up this weekend. Mic Drop Comedy. Oh, got nothing for Seth's Christmas party. All right, I'm going to that. I'm told there's an outdoor screen that now comes from the ground
Oh, shit.
and comes up. So we'll experience the majesty of that.
Well, you could probably do November 12th, too. I don't see anything up on the calendar.
Should we do it the same day?
Yeah.
Is
As long
that
as it's not a heat wave, that's my day I'm doing
Is
it.
that a Saturday?
Yeah.
All right. November 12th?
Yes.
All right, let's put that
Got it.
on the calendar. All right, let's see. Let me tell you about Simply Safe. Thinking about protecting your home, but waiting for the right time. Right now, Adam Carolla Show listeners get 40% off. Best home security of 2022. So says U.S. News and World Report. I use these guys. I trust Simply Safe. Batteries, very small, like hearing aid style size batteries, last up to 10 years, peel and stick, no drilling, no pulling wires, very ergonomic. 24/7 professional monitoring, cost under $1 a day, less than half the cost of ADT's professionally installed plans. Do not miss the chance to save big and protect your home. Get 40% off your order at simplysafe.com/Adam. Do that today. Customize the perfect system for your home in just a few minutes. That is simplysafe.com/Adam. Go online and make the system you want for your home and spend just a few minutes setting it up. There's no safe like Simply Safe. All right. Former, I think, Raiders. Well, I guess it'd be correspondent, reporter, sports reporter. Erin Coscarelli is going to join us, and we'll talk to her right after this.
It's time for Nicaraguan Name That Movie with Adam's buddy Oswaldo. See if you can guess which movie this famous line is from.
He hate this king. Stay away from the kings.
If you said The Jerk,
He hates these cans! Stay away from the cans!
you're correct. Now, back to the show.
Brian, you look like you got that one.
I did.
I did not.
I knew what he was saying, but I didn't know what it was
So I
from.
held up my finger like a gun. He was shooting the cans.
Erin Coscarelli is here. She has a podcast, EntertainHER, available on Podcast One as well, and wherever you get finer podcasts. Sports, and more sports, but not this podcast, or not that podcast.
Yeah, we deep dive women just tackling all kinds of different industries, overcoming issues with mental health and competition. We deep dive a lot of topics. Tom Brady, we talk about Tom Brady. So there's some sports in there, but it's a lot more female-centered. But as a sports broadcaster in my specific industry, there's an actress, a comedian, a fashion designer, and we don't always get along. So it's an interesting.
I was talking about Tom Brady with a guy who's a big New England sports fan and very smart, knows a lot about this stuff. And he was talking, well, for instance, I think he was mentioning, remember Deflategate, where his phone just sort of went missing?
It got destroyed, didn't it?
It's just somehow miraculously disappeared.
Okay, that was
Went missing. MIA.
Yeah. But here was his take. And then if we're all truthful, I think we might be on the same page, which is if somebody said, I'm going to accuse you of shoplifting, give me your phone. There may be other felonies on that phone that's not pertain to this shoplifting. This is a 4-game suspension. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But if you're carrying on with some ladies or you got God knows what on that phone, who just in general would just be comfortable whenever,
Sure.
Gruden and leaks and emails. I mean, is there such a thing as you handing over a device and someone saying, I'm going to strictly focus on this one subject? Or is it anything goes now? Like whatever's on this phone.
Yeah.
I hold that up as a paradigm of my virtue. I hand my phone over to Gina all the time, and that does happen.
It's true. I did make my husband my legacy contact on Facebook, so we're in the clear.
I would hand Gina my phone, but I wouldn't hand some
The
guy
FBI.
who wanted to look for everything on that
That's a
phone.
good point. That's a good
Fair.
point.
Yeah. So Tom Brady, thoughts?
In terms of how he's navigating the season?
I think it's weird that it feels weird to everyone that he's getting divorced over his job.
Do you think he's happy?
Do you think, though, it's weird? I don't think that that's weird. I think that Giselle has needs, and if she and him, I say this with utmost respect to their relationship, because we're all at the end of the day speculating. We're not inside the four walls of their life. But if she had a conversation with him at 45 years old and they said, I'm retiring, I'm hanging it up, and he lasted 40 days and said, sorry, this isn't for me, for whatever reason, yeah, I'd be a little upset. And
You'd be a little upset.
I'm
but
not saying that Tom Brady's in the wrong either. It's just for me, and these are some of the conversations we have on the podcast, it's like, what is your relationship to your job? I mean, he's 45. He can get seriously injured. He's losing time with his 13-year-old son, and I don't know the rest
but everyone
of
has a job.
But, I mean, he compared his job to getting into the military and deployment. He's watching
he's
8 hours of...
He's very fanatical about it. But let's put it to you this way. He's 45. Second only, I don't know, George Blanda played till he was 50 or 51 or something. There is no such thing as an NFL player past the midway part of their 40s or even into their 40s in this day and age.
Sure.
So,
Let alone a quarterback's playing, who up until recently, playing really well.
As well as he's playing, right?
So if I am really in love with somebody and we have a good relationship and I want you to stop doing this thing because it's taking you away from it, what is the over under? 19 months? I mean, you know what I mean? Like when there's some business nut, no one really, I've never thought about this, but everyone should. They're like guys that are business guys and they just can't get out of the game, and they're taking that into their 80s and they're still going on vacation with their phone because they're buying stock and stuff. He could not possibly go more than 2 more years at this job.
Absolutely agree.
3 maybe, 2 more. So
for sure.
If I'm in love with Gina and Gina's got some job that is keeping her away from me, but I know there's no such thing as her doing that job past 2 more years from now, I could probably hang on if we have a good relationship.
But it's interesting when you put it the way you put it, which was he retired for a month and 10 days and said, fuck this. I'm going back to work. So it could be an underlying other issue.
And I empathize with Tom Brady. And I think that that's why it's a deeper thing than just him playing ball, right? Like, I believe this is still him, perhaps, again, speculating, that 6th-round draft pick story, that Bill Belichick relationship who was moving on and he was giving up so much of his contract to keep the team together. Look, no doubt Tom Brady can sling the ball. No doubt that he can still play at such a high level at 45 years old. But at what level is he willing to sacrifice all of the other things? And when we have an identity issue, like for me, I can't decipher between who's Erin, and who's the sports broadcaster, because it's very sexy to say, I'm Erin Coscarelli, the sports broadcaster. And do I think that that's what's going on with Tom? I kind of think so.
Yeah.
Question for Erin.
But either way, it's a job. True. Everyone has jobs. They last until 65 or 70. It just feels like it's got to be more here than the job
home
part.
With the family. And if that's the agreement that he had with Giselle, then that's the agreement he had with Giselle.
But
She's like a
what
global
does not
sensation.
home mean? I mean, the season is X amount of months, but it's not year round.
Him being home, I was having this conversation with the guy that produced Tom versus Time, because this is a conversation that I think is deeper than just Tom playing football. I think that we all have a bit of what Tom has, which is my addiction to my work. I have an addiction. I have a workaholism where I love my job. And am I avoiding things by going to work because it feels, exciting to be at work and the access, the athletes, the places you get to go? is that what's going on with him? I'm not sure, but like they had a conversation, and the guy that was producing Tom versus Time said that after each game, he's watching 8 hours of film. Now, could Tom get away with 4 hours of film? Probably. Yeah. So I don't, but we're seeing this play out in real life in front of millions of fans, and everybody has a comment and a thought on it. And it's hard, like I think Tom Brady's great. I don't want to see him retire. I was sad when he retired last season, and I was selfishly happy when he came back 40 days later. But like, he still has kids to raise. And by the way, what is he teaching the kids? Who knows? It's hard to speculate.
But how much of this is exacerbated or whatever, supercharged by the sort of, I guess, now kind of confirmed story that Tom was initially going to retire or buy a part of the Dolphins and maybe play for them? I mean, that's a sell to Giselle, right? Hey, baby, we're going to live in Miami. We're going to get a house in Miami. We're going to be part owners of a team with whoever else is on the ownership group. And that fell apart. How much of this is sort of fall out of that?
I don't know, but Adam made a point of like people work until they're in their 70s, but they're not working getting their heads smashed, right?
Yeah,
on
but
the line.
everybody in the NFL has that hanging over their head.
But they're not all working until they're 45. Like he could get seriously injured, and then what happens? Then Giselle, look, she has a reason to be concerned.
I'm sorry for pushing back on every one of your points.
I love it.
Tom's had a knee injury, but has not been riddled with injuries. That same argument can be made for any married person who plays on Sunday. What about their wife? What if they're permanently injured?
And they don't have millions of dollars to fall back on.
Includes everyone on the field. I mean, there's a chance he can get hurt. There's a chance everyone can get hurt. That's the business he's been in for 30 years.
Well, he's also in the business of recovery, and it's very elusive and attractive and appealing to play the game like he's playing because it actually helps his business.
Yeah.
Right? He's selling.
I'm just saying
recovery
the notion, I had a dad who never left the house but didn't raise his kids while he was at the house. You know what I mean?
Wait, say that again?
My dad was at the house all the time but didn't do a good job raising his kids.
But see, there you go. And like, how much therapy have you needed? Because your dad was in the house but didn't do a good job raising the kids.
Needed versus did.
Well, that's what.
Say that again.
First off, it's like he has kids. Everybody who travels, who has a business, who's out, getting their hustle on, trying to build their own brand, or going back and forth to New York or Tokyo or something, is away from their kids. This thing where it's like he's not there for his kids feels spurious a little bit.
But I think the other thing that sets them apart from 99.9% of the rest of the people in the world is they don't have to work. So Giselle's probably like, I'm worth hundreds of millions of dollars. You're worth hundreds of millions of dollars. When do we just get to like do our thing and have fun and live?
You. And
you don't
look,
need to be here.
I'm not trying to put anyone. We don't know the dynamics of their agreement that they had. Maybe she's terrified. I mean, remember he did say he was going to play until he was 50.
Yeah, but. And I don't know if he can or would. He's not having a fantastic season this year. But I still argue that if their relationship didn't have a bunch of other moving parts that weren't going in the right direction, that it was simply about him not retiring, with retiring looming in the next year, 2, 3 years, sort of max, I think most couples would stay together if that was the issue. I feel like there's probably other issues that we're unaware of, and we've all talked about retirement or him playing football. I suspect there's more.
Well, to do it in front of millions of people, and Giselle, we don't know, but could have said, hey, you're sure, right? Yes, I'm sure, honey. I'm going to go home and we're going to, do the fun thing that Gina was saying. And then he chooses not to. Maybe she felt like that was a promise broken, and she's like, I'm good with this. Like, I've done this for however long they've been married.
12 years?
Long time. But this is an issue with athletes in general in terms of mental health, that they are not the individual, that they are the guy that puts the helmet on. And that's the conversation that I think is really interesting, because Aaron Rodgers tapped in and opened that conversation up. He used the word gentle and compassion when he discussed ayahuasca. Mm-hmm. We're not talking, that's never been discussed before. Players saying like that sort of thing openly. And I think it's opening the door. It is kicking the door open about mental health and sports performance. And I think like Pete Carroll, I love his philosophy about how it's the process. It's not, and the NFL is results driven. If you're a coach and you've been hired, you're fired within a year or two, maybe, if you have a losing season. So this is a results driven industry that is a process driven process in terms of like, I feel you can't think about the outcome because that's the death of the process. And that is the thing I hear the most from retired athletes is, what is the thing you wish you did differently in your career? They always say to me, I wish I had more fun. Because we're always looking to win. And if we're not winning, we're losers.
Yeah. Although, I always sort of translate a lot of this stuff to my old world, which is just a blue collar sort of building world. And, roofers don't have fun. They just go to work.
That's not the Cyndi Lauper song.
There's a whole group of people.
You got that.
There's a whole group of Americans. They're all the people you pass when you're driving into the place of work that doesn't fulfill you as much as you'd like. All the people on scaffolding with cinder blocks and up on the roof and like pushing lawnmowers, they're not having fun.
Are you having fun?
I don't look at it as fun.
Why? But you also don't look at it as work.
I don't look at it as work. I don't look at it as work or fun. I just look at it as what I do.
But you do it because there's a part of you that loves it. And there's something that is passion driven for you. Yeah, roofers may not be passionate, but for whatever reason, that's the career they chose.
Well, it kind of chooses you, those kind of jobs. That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like when people say it's, from Major League Sports, they go, when you stop having fun out there, that's when you got to hang it up. And my thing is you could get $16.7 million a year as a baseball player and not enjoy yourself.
Buys a lot of fun.
Yeah, paint a smile on your face and hammer a check and then go buy a ski boat. And during the off season, have some fun. That's all I'm saying.
But you do your job because you are passionate about it. And if you weren't passionate about it, I question whether you would come into this place.
No, I would come in to get paid.
Okay, well then that opens the door to going, is life all about making money?
No, a portion of it is about making money so then you can go do stuff you want to do.
You've created and etched out a beautiful career. Like you could go retire tomorrow and have lots of fun.
I couldn't live how I'd like to live, though. Like, I couldn't go do a lot of the things I'd probably like to do.
The things you do look at as fun, car racing, for example.
Yeah, it's kind of expensive. I mean, look, I'm not going to argue with you too much. There's a version of that I could do. I don't really look at this as work, per se, but I have the fortunate and unfortunate past of doing real work for way too long to really ever look at sitting in air conditioning and talking to you as work. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I do, bigger picture, I do worry that our kids aren't going to get that base anymore of like, I know what it's like to work, to actually go somewhere I don't want to go, which gives you some context and going somewhere you do want to go.
I just think we have to define what life should be. I agree with you. Like kids nowadays, right? I don't know. I don't have kids, but are they wanting to be like TikTok stars or influencers? And is that how they define work? I think at the end of the day, it's figuring out who you are. Do you just want to follow the footsteps of your dad? Do you just want to follow the footsteps of Tom Brady? Or do you want to carve out what
speaks to you?
What represents joy and peace? And look, at the end of the day, for me, like, I love my job. I have a dynamic relationship with it in terms of like, there is a bit of an obsession to it. But now I've shifted. And I feel like more open in talking about my problems, my issues, being a female in sports broadcasting, the challenges that women have in terms of dealing with, being a female in sport in a more male-dominated industry. But now I've shifted and gone like, how can I also help people by talking about some of the things I used to be ashamed of? And if that helps younger women or even younger men or even adults, whatever, cool. Like that feels purposeful for me. And then that becomes kind of fun because I'm like taking the armor of the things that I was like needing to be really tough about. And I think it resonates with people. So like that's kind of where the shift is for me because my workaholism was becoming an issue, and then lost my dad last year, lost my brother the year before, like had panic attacks and was in full breakdown mode and needed to go like, okay, like I can't keep on this.
I think you need that 12-hour walk.
Yeah, that's what Chris was saying.
Yeah,
I'm down.
I hope everyone is down with that. Speaking of shifting, Gruden. I haven't heard that guy's name come up in a little while, but you would know about Gruden, I'm guessing.
You're talking about Jon Gruden?
Jon Gruden.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy was all over NFL, everything, and now he's persona non grata.
Yeah. That was a really tough time to shift the storyline in terms of what was going on inside the facility for the Raiders, right? It was their second year in Vegas. I think it was the first time the Raiders were 5-2. Like they let go of a coach mid-season, and it's a winning record, right? It's not a losing
So Gruden
record.
was 5-2.
I want to say he was 5-2, and the team was firing and on all cylinders. And remember, before that, they were kind of struggling to get both sides of the ball working things out.
How much of that? Well, my theory of it, and thankfully you can address this. How much that he was in like year 2 or 3
4.
of that 4, thank you, of that crazy 10-year contract. Yeah. How much of that was the team very willing to part with the 10-year contract? I mean, was the hand forced, but
yeah, you mean like it was a heavy, expensive contract, and did they want to get out of it?
Thank God, an excuse to make this go away.
Yeah, there's speculation, but I can't speak to that. That's a front office deal. Look, I think the team respected Jon Gruden. I think they appreciated his leadership. But it's not lost on me that Rich Bisaccia, the interim head coach, the special teams coach, took the team 7-5 and a playoff berth for the first time. And
well, what was the Gruden story? They were looking in NFL emails. They were looking for something else, and emails with his name.
They were looking into
up.
the Dan Snyder situation. And I can't really speak
Washington,
to that.
then Redskins owner.
Yep.
And all the inappropriate whatever he was doing over there. So they were looking into him, and while they're looking in him, so that's why you don't hand your phone over.
Right, Tom.
They're looking for Dan Snyder, looking for a guy who owns the Washington Redskins, and come up with some Gruden stuff
You got
on
some
it.
while you're in there.
And that was the head scratcher, I think, for a lot of people within the Raiders organization. This was focused on Dan Snyder. How did Gruden get brought into it? So I think, like when you bring in the speculation of where did the contract lie? Was this something that they were happy about? I don't think that the Raiders were really happy about the situation that happened with Jon Gruden. Now, look, they weren't upset how the rest of the season played out.
Right.
Was the NFL looking to get Jon Gruden?
Right. That's the speculation. I can't speak to that.
Gina?
Yes.
Gina would know.
Says yes.
Gina would know.
Yeah.
Yeah, the scuttlebutt, at least from Mike August, who doesn't, his dad was a football coach for 35 years or whatever, knows NFL. He said, they didn't like Gruden. And I don't know why they didn't like
why?
Gruden.
He was all over their coverage. I mean, years before. He was like the face of the NFL.
I heard a theory right about when all this was going on that Gruden was only brought in as the Raiders coach when they were in Oakland because he was the guy who was going to help with a seamless transition to get the Raiders out of Oakland and into Las Vegas, and they had plans of canning him the whole time.
I don't believe that.
Okay.
And the reason why I don't believe that was because Mark Davis brought that team to Vegas, and it was like, we've got this super sexy new stadium. Allegiant is gorgeous. We have these incredible players in the locker room, and Gruden was the big draw for the fan base. They wanted to get fans because look, like Vegas, new market, they needed to get people to get on, they had the Golden Knights there already. They needed to get flashy names so that, it was Gruden's team. So
I think Gruden's going to sue the NFL now.
there's currently a lawsuit. I don't know
is there
much about
currently
it.
a lawsuit?
But yeah, I don't know anything about that though.
It is. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I'm Team Gruden on this one. If you're looking for stuff that Dan Snyder did and you find some shit with Gruden's name on it, focus on Dan Schneider. And by the way, we all have to act completely outraged by stuff he said. It was fairly mild shit. And compared to the Hustler cartoons
That's
we
the new
looked
standard.
at the beginning of this program, there were mostly zero burgers in there. I'll give the pod a plug. EntertainHER is available on the Podcast One network. And Instagram, should we send people there, Erin Coscarelli?
Yeah, let's do it.
We'll do that. Let's spell your last name so make sure everyone has it.
Yeah, it's Italian. Lots of syllables. Coscarelli. You're Italian, right?
Carolla or Carollo. Nobody knows. Although I realize what happened with my name is when the Carollo family dropped the O off the back of the name and put an A there, that O did not go to waste. Because everyone who writes an article about me kept the O, brought it back to the A where the C-A-R was, and then replaced it with that O.
Right.
Even in articles where the Adam Carolla Show logo is emblazoned in the article, one line above it, C-O-R. It's not how I spell my name, but it's on a lot of stuff, including the logo, which is in your article.
Yeah.
So you can just look down and see how it's spelled. But I don't assume I would know how to spell anyone's name. If I was writing an article, I'd just go, how do they... If it was Brown, I'd go, does he put an E on the end? I got to go look.
Well, you're not one of these people, and I think it's mostly women, my mom. But when you hear, like I'll say my name, and they're like, Grady, grad, like graduate, Carolla, Carolla. You might start doing that.
I think the car ruined it for me, because that's a C-O-R. Ironically.
Sorry,
No,
C-A-R.
like C-A-R spells car. Like Carolla, like...
No, I know. I'm saying the car...
I get it.
The Corolla
I get it.
is emblazoned on the back of everyone's sitting. You got it. Everyone's sitting in traffic thinking about an article about me and looking at the wrong spelling.
That guy's funny.
That's what I'm saying. But I've never said Corolla. I say
Carolla.
Well, yeah, California. All right, Erin. Thank you so much for joining us. Sorry for that. And Greg Fitzsimmons is in studio right after this.
It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
Hey, Ace Man. Say all this hot urinal trough talk lately reminded me of something me and my buddies would do in college. We'd go out to the bars and give each other, stupid-ass challenges, kind of like a bet. And if you failed the challenge or lost the bet, you were expected to go into the men's room and come out with the urinal cake between your teeth. We used to call it biting the mint. Get it on.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
A little better than biting the pillow. Yeah, you guys don't realize who you're dealing with dudes.
You guys are fucking disgusting.
Fitzdog in studio. Greg Fitzsimmons. Got dates coming up. San Francisco, Punchline, November 3 through the 5th. And then Tampa Bay, Florida, Side Splitters. That's November 17th through the 19th. And you can get more dates at gregfitzsimmons.com. Fitzdog, you're a good guy to ask any of these challenges with your friends when you were younger that took place. Guys are that way. They taunt other guys. They do weird, gross things. They're bizarre, scatological oftentimes.
And you're only alienated and cast off if you say no. It doesn't matter how disgusting it is. You're in as long as you do it.
Yes.
You're just a little bitch if you don't.
To the nth degree, that was my childhood.
Yes.
There was a lot of... I grew up in Tarrytown, New York, which is just north of the city. And there was a girls' Catholic college in my town. So just
the possibilities are endless.
Let the games begin.
Something I thought you'd want to be a part of here is we were talking to John Wayne's son last week. John Wayne's son was talking about his dad and the Oscars and at the Oscars with the time in 1973 when Sacheen Littlefeather accepted the award for Marlon Brando,
Yes.
Godfather, I think it was.
Correct.
And somebody tweeted me an article about who this Sacheen Littlefeather was. And it's pretty long, but it's kind of interesting. I will show you the acceptance speech first. If people don't remember or where they were or weren't alive when this happened, this is her accepting at the Academy Awards in 1973.
Marlon Brando in The Godfather.
Or not accepting, actually.
Accepting the award for Marlon Brando and The Godfather, Miss Sacheen Littlefeather.
Everything that was old is new again. No, cannot accept.
She won't take the statue.
Won't take the statue.
My name is Sacheen Littlefeather. I'm Apache, and I'm president of the National Native American Affirmative Image Committee. I'm representing Marlon Brando this evening, and he has asked me to tell you in a very long speech, which I cannot share with you presently because of time, but I will be glad to share with the press afterwards, that he very regretfully cannot accept this very generous award. And the reasons for this being are the treatment of American Indians today by the film industry.
Thank God John was in the lobby smoking. He didn't have to hear this horse shit.
Oh, a lot of booze.
Oh. Well, they make movies about these people.
And on television, in movie reruns, and also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee. I beg at this time that I have not intruded upon this evening, and that we will, in the future, our hearts and our understandings will meet with love and generosity. Thank you on behalf of Marlon Brando.
It's funny, she's got a little AOC working for her physically and emotionally, I would say, as well. So this horseshit's 50 years old, but just to prove to you everything is horseshit then and now, there's this article.
Sacheen Littlefeather was a native icon. Her sisters say she was an ethnic fraud. You might not know her name, but you've probably seen the video that made her famous. In 1973, actress and activist Sacheen Littlefeather took the stage at the Oscars dressed in a beaded buckskin dress in place of Marlon Brando after he was awarded Best Actor for his role as Vito Corleone in The Godfather. Claiming Apache heritage, she spoke eloquently to a backdrop of boos of the mistreatment of Native Americans by the film industry and beyond. The blowback was swift and brutal. Presenters ridiculed her during the broadcast. She told reporters that John Wayne had to be held back by 6 security guards to prevent him from rushing the stage and assaulting her. In taped interviews this year with the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences shortly before her death, Littlefeather said that going on stage that night led to her being blacklisted from the entertainment business. As the decades passed, however, the calm dignity with which she conducted herself that night, easily viewable on YouTube, won over many critics. And interviews she gave in intervening years described a childhood of poverty, growing up in a shack where she and her white mother were victims of domestic abuse and violence by her white Mountain Apache and Yaqui Indian father, made her story a sympathetic one. As such, she enjoyed incredible public support when it was announced months ago that the Academy would finally apologize to her after nearly 50 years. The death of the, quote, Apache activist and actress, as she was described in her New York Times obituary earlier this month, and in thousands of articles over the years, was mourned widely and uncritically. In one of her final interviews, Littlefeather told the Chronicle that she took the stage at the Oscars because I spoke my heart, not for me, myself, as an Indian woman, but for we and us, for all Indian people. I had to speak the truth. Whether or not it was accepted, it had to be spoken on behalf of Native people. But Littlefeather didn't tell the truth that night. That's because, according to her biological sisters, Rosalind Cruz and Trudy Orlandi, Littlefeather isn't Native at all.
Oh.
It's a lie, Orlandi told me in an exclusive interview. My father was who he was. His family came from Mexico, and my dad was born in Oxnard. It is a fraud, Cruz agrees. It's disgusting to the heritage of the tribal people. It's just insulting to my parents. Littlefeather's sisters both said in separate interviews that they have no known Native American Indian ancestry. They identified as Spanish on their father's side and insisted their mother has no claims to a tribal identity. I mean, you're not going to be a Mexican-American princess, Orlandi said of her sister's adoption of fraudulent identity. You're going to be an American Indian princess. It was more prestigious to be an American Indian than it was to be Hispanic in her mind. The sisters reached out to tell me their story because for some time I've been compiling a public list of alleged pretendians, non-native people who I or other Native American people suspect or proved to have manufactured their
And
native identities.
Good name for a Pretenders cover band right there, too. Yeah. Sorry.
For personal gain.
Ass in pocket.
And Little Feather was among them. I put the list together in January 2021 after the New York Times published an opinion by Claudia Lawrence to mark the nomination of Representative Deb Haaland, Democrat from New Mexico, a Laguna Pueblo tribal member to be Secretary of the Interior. Lawrence falsely claimed that her late husband's tribal identity and stole a historical moment for Native women by mimicking a Native woman's perspective as she talked down to the Interior Secretary in the country's paper of record.
There's, sorry, Dawson, but I think there's a thing toward the end where she was explaining how she got her name, or how the sisters thought she got that name, Sasheen, Sasheen. And she was the name. I think it said that it was the name of a company that like made yarn or fabric or something, and they would sit around and make dresses or knit or something when they were kids. And she saw Sasheen Little Feather, and she put Little Feather on the back of it, and it seemed like a good name.
Neither sister knew where the name Little Feather came from. Orlandi scoffed at her sister's statements that she got the name from her father when she danced before him, holding a single feather aloft.
Boy.
That she danced in front of my father and always wore a feather in her hair, in her head, and that's when my father called her Little Feather. That's another fantasy.
Whose fantasy?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it's working for me.
A dusting of Dolezal.
Yeah. Yeah, there's something about the Sasheen part that's probably a little above that part. But anyway, Dawson will find it. So here we go again, everybody. All these things. Now, I guess back in the day when you did this shit, you might be able to ride it out to the grave. You know what I mean?
Oh, sure.
Now, internet blows your shit up in the next 10 minutes.
I mean, technically, she did write it out to the grave.
She did.
Yeah.
Little Feather claimed the name was given to her by a member of the Navajo Nation, the largest tribe in the United States, located in Utah, Arizona, and New Mexico, at Alcatraz. In 1969, American Indian activists took over the island, and as it was a disused federal property, demanded it be given to them, citing treaties. Little Feather claimed that the name meant little bear in Navajo. It doesn't. That would be Shushyats. It is also not the custom of Diné people, as Navajo call ourselves, to name people after animals.
Okay.
There is that one Sasheen, though, right?
When asked how their sister, who they knew by the nickname Deb growing up,
Deb from Oxnard,
came up with her Indian name, Orlandi recalled how the sisters all used to make their own clothes in 4-H. The spools of thread and ribbon were made by a company called the Sasheen Ribbon Company.
There you go.
They suspect this may have been the inspiration for Sasheen.
All right, so now everything is ruined. There's no more. That's it. It's all hoax. Can't believe anything anymore.
Brando's not even Italian.
Oh, no.
This is a travesty.
I know.
The
What a
Duke
shonda.
was right.
Yep.
It's a good thing
He was held back.
there was
Good thing
that
those six guys.
that six security guard to
held
hold the
back
Duke back.
from attacking a 5'1" actress.
And she sounded like the clips of the chicks you've showed us in Billy Jack.
Oh, yeah.
She's like,
Yes.
oh, and then like so dour.
She was
Yeah.
cosplaying.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. There were. It was very that. By the way, if you want to know what 1973 was, that's it.
Yeah.
Like if I could provide you one car, I would show somebody a burnt orange kitchen with an avocado colored refrigerator and I'd go, that was 1973 from an architectural standpoint. This is where we're at.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it was all bullshit.
Yeah,
Apparently.
or something. But it was.
I mean, according to Sasheen Littlefeather's sister.
That is why disco exists. Because after a full plate of Vietnam War and Crosby, Stills and Nash and protest songs and Richard Nixon and Sasheen Littlefeather, somebody wanted to do some Booger Sugar and get out and sing that song. I'm making it. I've got the chance. I'm taking the Dr. Pepper guy. No more faking it. This time, we went from like 4 Dead in Ohio to this guy strutting around, shaking his ass, singing about making it to the top. What's that Dr. Pepper guy? What's that Making
With
It
the
song?
suspenders.
The irony that James Bond tried to hand her the Oscar. She said,
That's
no
right.
thanks.
Yeah.
Fucking Roger Moore.
Yep. She couldn't take it.
Wow.
Well, I'll tell you, it's tough these days to make a statement because you're right. They check on you. You better be fucking legit.
Yes.
Airtight.
There's ancestry DNA now, and
Well, remember when Ben Affleck, they did like the Who Do You Think You Are, the Ancestry on like PBS or something, and he begged them not to air the part where they said, you may have owned some people, but your family may have owned some people.
Well, but look at it as a tip of the cap because
you had money.
My parents they were renters. You know what I mean? Like,
right. They leased their people.
Yes, they were not nearly successful enough to own. They didn't own a house.
Right.
Forget about a plantation or staff. They're just peasant people.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what the last bastion of that is? Taking someone at their word? Medical stuff. Because of HIPAA, you can't question whether no one's ever asked me to prove that I had cancer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
It's high time they did.
Show a fucking MRI or something. It's just like, guys telling the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got y'all fooled.
What was that
By the way, you
song?
must be
David
exhausted.
Naughton. Sorry.
David Naughton, yeah.
I
You
want
must
to
be
hear that
exhausted
song.
with Adam having you move all that shit around in the driveway.
God. I mean, it's really beneficial ultimately,
Yeah,
like
right,
physical
right.
therapy, but it's taxing.
Star of the ABC TV series Makin' It.
Oh, yeah. There used
They
to be.
made a TV show out of the song.
Listen, they made a movie called Take This Job and Shove It because there was a country song called Take This Job and Shove It. And they made the Harper Valley PTA.
9 to 5.
The Gambler.
9 to 5,
Well,
The Gambler.
technically the movie was first, but I hear
Was
ya.
it?
Yeah, and a lot of Dolly trivia. She sat on set with her long nails and started doing this to make a typewriter sound.
Oh.
And that was the typewriter, and then she wrote the song.
But Harper Valley PTA and Billy Joe jumping off the Tallahatchie Bridge. They would just, the night the lights went out in Georgia, they would make a TV series from a 2-minute and 41-second song.
Hilarious.
As a writer, wouldn't you be insulted if somebody just stormed into the writer's room and goes, Fitzdog, I know you're having trouble creating things, but there's this song. And we perhaps we can craft an entire 90-minute series around it.
Yeah.
It's called Dark Lady. It's
That's
great.
right. Yeah.
It's got great lyrics like, I'm number 1, I'm not no number 2.
Right.
I think this thing has legs.
Yeah.
Making It was ranked number 40 in TV Guide's 50 worst TV shows of all time.
Nice.
I wonder if The Man Show made that list.
You should be so lucky. What a list to be honored on.
Yeah. Fitzdog, I'm looking down here and something I don't think we've talked about.
Uh-oh.
And we've talked about everything. The Beach Boys played live at a party with John Stamos on a drum kit, but was that also connected to you going to a party where the Manson family murders took place?
That's the same story.
That's the same story.
Yeah, I went to, it was Bob Saget's 60th birthday party. And so, it's one of those mansions where it's up in the crazy curvy hills where you can't park on the street, so they have valet parking, and then you walk up this quarter-mile long driveway.
Right.
And as me and my wife were walking up the driveway, I throw a move on her.
Sure.
No.
Sure.
And we get up to the top, and I'm told that this is the Manson house. But it turns out they had knocked it down, and the guy that produced Full House, which, by the way, produced Full House and 2 other primetime sitcoms at the exact same time. He had 3 hit shows on at the same time. And not Full House. What was the one Saget was on?
Full House.
Oh, Full House. Okay. So I get up there, and we hear a Beach Boys song playing. And we're like, oh, music's good. People may be dancing. We walk in, look to the left. No, it's the fucking Beach Boys.
The Beach Boys.
Yeah, it was Mike Love, and on drums is Stamos.
Damn.
And I forget. I think Ben Stiller was up there playing an instrument.
Damn.
And and it was amazing because I'm a huge Beach Boys fan, and we just got to hang out with Mike Love all night.
Was Mike Love wearing a ball cap that said Beach Boys on it?
He was, in fact.
So you knew it was him.
Yeah.
Did
name
how
tag,
they
too.
sound live?
They sounded great. You know, I mean, it's anytime you see the Beach Boys now, like I also saw the Beach Boys down in Orange County, and it was Brian Wilson, but it was with a whole other group of guys. Like they don't play together. There's a schism between the boys.
Yeah.
But
That's what happens. It has to be, but why?
Is it just Mike Love now and like four harmonists, whatever it is, or is Al Jardine in there? Or
no, Al Jardine was in there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And although he doesn't play with them now, I think they were touring over the last couple of years, and I think Al Jardine stepped off. But, you know, I mean, it's the songs play themselves. They're so fucking good, you know?
Yes.
And but I took my daughter's a surfer, and I took her down to see the Brian Wilson one down in Orange County. And it was just so funny. We played a game where you had to point to flip-flops and Hawaiian shirts. It's all it was guys with horrific toenails and flip-flops.
Oh,
if you have yellow, curled up, dried toenails, closed-toe shoe.
Yeah. Yeah, if you've got hemorrhoids, don't wear chaps.
Right.
Like my grandpappy used to tell me back in the day.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to bring up this morbid connection, but did anyone, or was it intentional, that Dennis Wilson hung out with the Manson family for an extended period of time?
He did.
That's right.
Did anyone make that connection? Like, this is a little weird. These guys are here.
No.
How do you think we got the house?
There's a book called Chaos by Tom O'Neill that tracks that whole story. It talks about Manson during those days and the famous people that used to hang out with him, and it was like Manson was like this in the center of the cool, like not Laurel Canyon. What's the
Topanga?
one? Topanga Canyon.
Mm-hmm.
He was the heart of that whole Topanga Canyon scene.
And also it is interesting what the rules of tearing down, you know, Dahmer's apartment are, or the Manson house. Is it just the physical structure? How far into the topsoil do we have to go?
Yeah. Full pet cemetery.
We're talking about Indians. Indians are like, where that shopping mall is, that's our ground.
That's a burial ground.
They're not saying we had a 3-story teepee over there and these guys took a wrecking ball to it. They're talking about the ground.
You have to go subterranean.
And then how far do we get in? You want to build, you got to do a soils report out here. They want to see where bedrock is. I would argue that bedrock would be where we'd have to remove it. Yeah, just because you whack down some stucco on a 2x4 doesn't mean that the bad vibes have gone. That's in the soil.
Yeah, you got to go deep. And do you think that
shit's like radon, bro?
The house you grew up in as a child, will you tear that down?
He already did.
Oh,
you did?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, please.
Yeah, I went full
How
force
deep did
Gump,
you go?
man. I just stood out there crying.
Yeah.
Throwing rocks.
I don't know. I took Chris there. Oh, Chris left. I took
Wasn't
Chris
it the
there
plot of the Adam Grohl
8 years
project?
before. No, well, that's my dad's house. My mom's.
Oh, that was not your childhood house?
No,
Oh,
my
sorry.
mom's. Well, to be clear, I guess your childhood house would be your childhood house, and then there's like the high school house or whatever. But we moved around a little bit. But the childhood house in North Hollywood, not too far from where Gina resides, that house was bought and taken down.
Wow.
With
raised.
Somebody had a Mexican lean on it and it just toppled like a house of cards. No, for people around the country, what year? You can look that up.
Is there a plaque?
There will be after this podcast.
Moral warning.
That was on Houston Street. Chris will find it. Here's me point. This is a valley. This is a SoCal real estate thing. Purchase price for the house, not a big lot, not a double lot, not a half-acre lot, smallish residential size lot.
Front yard, backyard.
Front yard, backyard. and narrower than most lots. It was probably a little undersized lot-wise. House was purchased about 5 years ago for $680K, and total demolished down to the ground.
Yeah.
Worth more demolished than standing.
Worth more. That's the house I grew up in. Somebody said I shall pay almost $700,000 for this home.
For this eyesore to be
and
gone.
I will take it down to the ground.
But does that include the cost of the vintage Playboys hidden in the
That's why you got
the floors?
Yeah, it's that's how much real estate is in these neighborhoods we're in.
I'm sorry for a further morbid question. Was this house, this murder house, was it the La Bianca house or was it the Sharon Tate house?
Sharon Tate, right?
No, the Sharon Tate house.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't know.
And he built it up. I mean, this house was so big that you went up to the third floor and you could go down a chute, down a water slide through a mountain.
Now they're
like
making
a
a
big
mockery
rock
of these
thing.
people's lives.
Into a pool in the backyard. Yeah.
I will bet you that the La Bianca house was not torn down.
Because it was nice?
No, it was like, I don't know, it was like in a residential neighborhood almost, like kind of in between two. I don't know, maybe I don't know, it didn't have the notoriety or...
Yeah, for sure. Well, they were very wealthy at the time. They were like grocery store magnates or something.
Right.
So
Yeah.
probably was a nice house.
Right. Can you find my mom's house on Zillow?
I'm trying to find the exact address first, because I got to...
I'll give it to you, or maybe off the air.
Here, write it down. I'll type it to him.
All right, I'll write it down. You can.
It
can type
looks
it down.
like the La Bianca home still stands. It was sold last year for almost 1.9 in Los Feliz.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, Los Feliz. Yeah, that was a kind of crazy story. So, no bad vibes. Just
Good vibrations.
Just good vibrations.
Good vibrations, yeah.
It's funny, I wouldn't have taken you for a Beach Boy guy.
I was not. I grew up in New York, and I hated the Beach Boys. I hated the Eagles. I hated all California rock.
Yeah.
And then I came out here, and I fucking embraced it.
Really?
I took on the Rams. Here's me. I'm not going to be a guy that lives in L.A. and wears a Yankees cap.
Yeah.
And a Ramones T-shirt.
Assimilate.
Right.
Assimilate. I've been living here for 22 years. I can't fight it. You know what I do? I go to the beach. I go to Venice Beach and I swim. Did I tell you that I saved a guy?
No.
I was in the beach a few weeks ago, and I'm out there, and the waves started to get really big, and I was like, I got to get the fuck out of here because I am not a good swimmer. And so I start swimming in, and I hear, help! And I turn around, and some asshole is slapping the water, head going underneath the water, coming up. There's big 6-foot waves, and I'm like, fuck, there's nobody around except me. So meanwhile, I was trained when I was a teenager. My parents made me get certified as a junior lifeguard just because they thought it'd be a good idea to go through life certified. Yeah. So me and my friends used to smoke pot before class every morning. It was the summer. I was 14. And so we'd go to class, and I did not do well. I failed the written part of the exam and also the physical part of the exam. I failed the whole thing. So I did not get certified. But I was trained in a very high way. I knew in a vague, weird, funny way what it was like to save somebody.
You can only really save someone if you're high. That's how you're trained.
Yeah. I needed to go on shore before I
Right.
saved this guy. And so I go to the guy. I was like, all right, here's what you need to do. The first thing to teach you is turn the guy around because he will pull you down with him. So I say, okay, turn around. I go, I'm going to get you in a cross chest carry. I'm going to bring you in.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
And so I get him in a cross chest carry, and I about 3 side strokes, and then a wave right where it lands. I go, take a breath and relax. We're going under. And so we go under. I got to find him. I pull him back up again. Cross chest carry, side stroke. I'm kicking. He's fat. He's got fucking swim goggles on. That's how bad of a swimmer he is. And so I'm pulling him in. Another wave comes through. We go through like 4. It's about 2 minutes, which doesn't sound like a long time.
But you're struggling.
But I was struggling, and I finally get to the point where I can get my feet onto the sand, and I can no longer swim. I'm too exhausted to swim, so I'm pushing him with my toes in the sand, and I just start to get him in. All of a sudden, this Baywatch boat comes screaming in. Beautiful blonde fucking lifeguard dives in the water, grabs my guy. grabs
That's your
him.
safe. That's your collar.
That's
Punch
my
your
collar.
guy.
And he brings him in, and everybody on the beach is like clapping, and they're giving him hand jobs. There's a party. There's balloons, and I'm out there, and I get sucked back into the wave, and now I can't get out of the fucking wave, and I'm like, how about a little something for me? And so I finally get myself out, and I walked into shore, and there was an undertow. So I couldn't even walk against the undertow getting to the water. And the guy was sitting there with his goggles on with fucking water in them, and he sees me, and he cried, and he gave me a hug, and he goes, "You saved me."
Wow.
Yeah.
Those were salty tears of joy.
Salty tears.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Why wasn't this on the news?
I know.
You're a hero.
I was a hero.
Yeah, seriously.
We have before and after pictures of that house now. That we have the
and I have the kind of
thought
the
you were gonna have
history.
after
Greg, your
film.
tale of life and death is compelling. But
Yeah.
look
But-
at
Just put it
We
in
gotta-
my
I thought I would have gotten a
house.
victory lap on that one.
Check out the 2 front doors.
that house was 850 square feet. It was all attic, and it was 1 bedroom, 1 bath, and whatever. And
you brought me over there, Adam, and then in 2015, it was sold for the price of $650,000.
2016.
2015.
Oh, 2015. Sorry, for 650.
Yeah. And then I remember I went back to take pictures of the house, and it was just gone. And here's what it looks like now. So
It's
Oh,
you're
shit.
shitting me.
Those are that's a very popular architecture in the neighborhood.
Oh yeah, that's all over West
big and
LA.
big and modern. And
you want me to read the description?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
All right. So presenting a stunning rebuilt home completed in 2016, located in the prestigious Colfax Meadows School District.
Prestigious.
That's right.
It is a good charter school.
This Valley Village home is an absolute must-see.
Fuck yeah.
This
Yeah.
beautiful
Nice.
home features 4 bedrooms, 3.5 baths, 4,000 square feet of living space.
Yeah, you couldn't flip that. The house I grew up in was over 100 years old by the time it was built in like 79 or something.
Look at this open concept.
Yeah,
I want this house.
It had 2 front doors because one door was for the guy's, dental office, and the other front door was the front door of the house. That's why it had 2 doors in it. Yeah, they did a better job.
Yeah, slightly.
Built-in wine fridge in the island.
Brian, you got to get to the valley.
I want this place.
What
I
does
love that
what's Zillow or Redfin have it at?
Let me
now?
guess. Let me guess
Okay.
because I've been doing this a lot in
Wait,
Valley
how
Village.
many square feet is it?
4,000.
4,000?
4,000.
I'm gonna say right now, I'm gonna say 2.8.
I'll go under.
I'm going to say 2.2.
At 4,500 square foot is not that much.
It is. It is the prestigious Colfax
It's
Elementary.
probably just over $1 million.
No, please, Dawson, I'd buy it if it was just over $1 million.
I'll
Trust
split
me, I've
the
been doing this a
difference.
long time.
1.7.
Look, you see there's no yard in the
Look
back.
at that shit yard.
All right.
I could buy it right now if it was just over $1 million.
I got it at like I'll do it at 2.5 and change.
All right.
1.7.
2.8.
2.2.
The estimate is $2,646,218.
I do this every day.
This home last sold in 2020 for $2.15 million.
Nice.
Yeah.
Trust me, this not only am I on
Prestigious,
this
yes.
site, I'm on this neighborhood every day.
Well, I was only $100,000 off, right?
Yeah, you were.
And so I could get it for 2.5 and change.
No, you could us them down.
I'm just saying, when I was laying in my army cot on the converted porch with no air conditioning,
Someday.
sweating my ass off through another horrible valley summer when I was 9,
That's mean.
just
Why would you do that?
staring at an uninsulated ceiling at the bottom of the plywood that was the sheathing at the not 2x6 rafters, 2x4 rafters, because 2x6 was a little rich for the girl. When I was just laying there in my underpants, sweating my ass off and staring at the ceiling of this converted porch I grew up in, if somebody would have tapped me on the shoulder and went, "This is going to sell for $2.6 million," I would have been like, I don't know what. Oh, they've struck oil.
Yeah.
They must have struck. Oh, it's like the Beverly Hillbillies.
We're rich, Texas tea.
My dad was shooting at some food. And this happened. The
Marlon
crude. I would have. There was no. This house was purchased for $10,000 in 1951 by my grandmother.
And was the cot prestigious that you slept on?
Oh, yes. Yes, it's next to Archie Bunker's chair in the Smithsonian before they tore the house down.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
$10,000.
$10,000.
Probably surrounded by orange groves.
1951.
What is
Prestigious
that
Valley
architectural style? The nice one, the good one on the right. Is that Craftsman? What is that?
I just think it's just, can they call it contemporary?
Okay.
But,
I see a lot
I
of
think
these.
I think the
Very
big
popular.
open floor plan is the way to go. Every old house I ever bought and renovated had a miniature little kitchen with a door.
Yeah.
And not only a door, the door had a spring on it. Like, we don't even want to catch a glimpse of what may be going on in that kitchen. We're out here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The woman should not be seen.
That's right.
Now the kitchen is the living room.
Yeah.
It's
That's true.
boom.
And the
Big
fucking
open
father's in
concept.
there doing the cooking.
God
what
damn it.
happened to this country?
Oh.
We had something, we have still something in our house that you would have gotten hours of entertainment out of, Adam. Going from the kitchen into the dining room, and I use that word very loosely, swinging saloon doors.
I like that.
Oh.
I'm going to go against the grain, so I don't like the open concept.
Yeah.
I
hate the open
I like
concept.
the dining room.
I'm fairly anti-open concept
Yeah.
as well. We've been looking at a lot of houses, and it feels like, well, this is the kitchen and this is the couch. I'm like, I don't want to be
One big
in the
room.
same room with
No.
all you people.
Yeah.
I want to be in the room alone. Like, where's the masturbation room?
That's
you.
That's
right.
right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Agreed.
You know?
And they never say that. You know what I mean? They do. If you go look at house, and I love looking at house. If there's ever, the one I always love is when they're selling you the thing that'll never happen. Like, there'll be a balcony off the master bedroom, and they go, "Can you imagine drinking your coffee out here every
Reading
morning?
the newspaper?
You're sitting out here. Now I'm yelling at someone and running for the car. You know what I mean? Like, there's no both hands on the mug,
With a
two
little
hands.
blank throw around
That mug's
you.
a two-hander, and every morning I just sit. I'm king of all I survey.
Yeah.
I've never even been on the fucking balcony.
Right.
But they do all that sort of, can you imagine having a glass of wine? You know, a lot of these houses, again, the other place you'll never go is if there's like a hill house and someone has taken some wood and made a little perch at the top on the back and put a stone path. Imagine sitting up there with a glass of
little
wine
gazebo,
at the end of the day. Never happen at night.
Right.
This never happens during the day. But much more realistically, when they're showing off the Carrera marble shower, they should be, could you imagine rubbing one out in here in this kind of opulence? That's a much more, that is going to go down.
They should have a handlebar sticking out of the
That's
wall.
right,
and
a
grip
grab
onto.
bar.
Yeah.
Nozzles heading you from all directions.
That's right. You imagine rubbing one out while you're being massaged by pulsating water. Like,
You need a bench.
yeah, they never tell you where you can beat off. They only tell you where you can drink coffee
And entertain. Do you entertain?
Yes, and now there's a lot of. By the way, I just recently looked at a house, and they'll do. There's the one I always go. You like to barbecue? And it's like, if you say no, you're basically saying, I hate America.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I go, I love barbecue. And like, even if I never barbecue, you have to must answer to I love. That's basically the dude's version of children are our future. That's
Sure.
the chick version. I love barbecuing.
Yeah.
I love eating other people's barbecue is
right.
really the answer to that. All right, let me tell you about Lands End Business.
Oh.
Well, you don't want to wear an uncomfortable uniform. I used to work at McDonald's. I had a polyester brown gi. Hated putting that thing on. Did not breathe at all. So don't just slap your logo on some itchy old uniform. Get custom apparel from Lands End Business. Since 1993, thousands of businesses have relied on Lands End Business to outfit their employees, from top financial institutions to airlines to local mom and pop shops. Whether you're a carpet cleaner, had that job, a moving company, had that job, or you have a pizza shop, well, you just want to get covered by the best. T-shirts, outerwear, hats, mugs, water bottles, hundreds of products for trade shows, events, or holiday gifts as well. Even set up an online store where employees can order items they need without worrying about inventory. It's Land's End. Am I right, Dawson?
See why thousands of companies count on Land's End Business. Go to business.landsend.com/Adam and use promo code Adam for 25% off. That's business.landsend.com/Adam. Promo code Adam for 25% off.
Stephanie Tanner, Jodie Sweetin is going to join us tomorrow, by the way. Speaking of Full House.
Can I read you my Nextdoor app from yesterday afternoon?
please.
Oh, please.
Late afternoon. I live in Venice.
Well, why don't we start the news off with
Breaking.
with your
Okay,
breaking
breaking
news
news.
of your Nextdoor app.
Venice Beach, California. Today.
Quick, hold on, quick break,
We're going to tease it.
and we'll kick off the
Oh, I
news
see what you're doing.
right after this.
We have some breaking news. We're going to pass it over to Greg Fitzsimmons right now.
Coming in from Venice Beach, California, my Nextdoor app. Today, a man masturbated into my front yard flower bed. I did not call the police. I wept.
I'll bet when the realtor was showing off the house, she did not highlight the flower bed.
The landscaping.
Like I wanted to do with the shower.
I've never seen roses that full.
Yeah.
What's the secret?
Oh, it's
Wow.
a secret bum sauce that my grandfather.
Speckled white.
That's right.
Are those eggshells? I hear those can work.
Oh, God damn.
Wow.
Now, that is somebody who's in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't talk about the masturbatory part of homelessness, but
Where are you
there's
gonna
got to
do
be some of that going down for sure.
I would
You've seen
think.
it?
Yeah.
I saw it on this street.
that's
Freeway
right.
exit at the 405 in like Sawtell
Yeah.
National.
Yeah.
Is that like where they go?
That's
they
where he
can-
went. That's where he was.
I would think a tent is the perfect place to masturbate, though, isn't it?
He was partly in a tent.
Oh, he was partly in. Oh, so you were peering.
Oh, I couldn't help it. I was
Yeah.
in the car.
Yeah.
And he was mere feet away. Struggling.
You like to think masturbation is something you do after all the other needs have been met.
Yeah.
He skipped a couple needs.
That's right.
And went to masturbation.
Oh, like flossing.
Shelter.
Yeah.
And hydration and things like that.
Yeah.
Masturbations. Yeah. Yeah, for many Americans, it's first.
Yeah.
Chris, you saw a guy beating off?
Yeah, I was at a bus stop. I was just driving by. I was at a red light. I just happened to look left, and there he was. I averted my eyes immediately. I don't know. I didn't want to look.
You
I
want to
knew
lock
it was-
contact?
Yeah, I
with
didn't want any eye contact. It felt like, for me, it felt wrong. Like, oh, I shouldn't be looking at that. But I get,
him? Yeah, you were in the wrong.
You're
Yeah.
part of it.
yeah, just at a bus stop. I wish he was in a tent.
That's just good time management.
Sure,
bus
while you're waiting
stop
for the
beat
bus.
off?
That's a waste of time otherwise.
Well, you don't stand there and brush your teeth. You do other activities.
I always walk out of my bathroom with my electric toothbrush, and I will bust some glasses or some junk that's in my office. I'll put it in the kitchen, and I'll walk back, and I'll just do it while I'm doing it.
Multitaskers.
There you
Multitaskers.
go.
You don't drip foam down your chest?
Sometimes I slobber a little on my mouth, but
That's
I
why
don't,
he's wearing the jacket.
I don't
Yeah.
really get it. No,
Yeah.
I'm pretty good with it.
Well, starting out with some really sad news that broke right before the show today. Veteran actor Leslie Jordan found dead this morning after his car crashed into a building in Hollywood. This is according to TMZ. If you're not, you know him, and I'm going to show you a picture of me with him at the Playboy Mansion. You'll know who he is immediately, and I will go on to further explain.
Oh, him.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
Beloved. That's from God knows how many years ago.
Short, very southern.
Effeminate, southern.
Gay, I'm guessing?
Yes.
Well, he's
Played
with
Not
Gina.
from that photo. He's
That's
not gay.
exactly right.
right.
And this was probably a drag event. So law enforcement sources say that he was 67. He suffered some sort of medical emergency and then crashed at 9:30 a.m. And this is for the locals here at Cahuenga and Romaine in Hollywood.
Wow, that's Hollywood.
Yeah, he's best known for his role as Beverly Leslie in Will and Grace. He also had prominent roles in The Cool Kids, Call Me Kat with Mayim Bialik, American Horror Story. He also went totally viral during the pandemic. He would post 2 videos a day. They were just really fun and kind of a way to keep things entertaining. Just to further jog your memory if you're listening, here's a scene from Will and Grace, the rebooted version, where the flamboyant character Beverly Leslie, that's Leslie Jordan, tells his frenemy Karen Walker, played by Megan Mullally, that he has a big secret he needs to get off his chest.
Burning need to share something intensely personal with you, but it's just so hard to say out loud.
Oh, for God's sake, don't cry. You look like Jeff Sessions watching a black man vote.
Erin, this may come as a great shock to you, but I'm a homosexual.
That's it? What's your next bombshell? Harvey Weinstein isn't always a perfect gentleman?
That's it, I'm gay.
A great repartee always between those two.
It's funny, it felt so sitcom-y,
Yeah.
even though it was the next
Yeah.
generation.
Yeah.
It's like, what's, it's set up, boom, set up.
Yeah.
It was so good. Anyone who shits on that show now, like people shit on RuPaul for not being politically correct, is insane. Will and Grace was so groundbreaking and was mainstreamed so many things that nobody was normalizing or talking about.
No,
and
I
now people
shit
look
on
back and-
RuPaul because we have to give her the Emmy every year.
No, that's different.
I
This
do it
is-
on behalf of Survivor
This is
fans
people
or
who,
Great Race fans.
That's exactly right. This is people who don't think, looking back, Will and Grace was politically correct enough.
But this is part 2, right?
Yeah, this was the 2017 reboot.
Oh, okay.
And I'm sure massaged down some of those things. TMZ also reports that just about as quickly as it began, and these were back-to-back stories in a matter of hours, the working relationship between Kanye West and Johnny Depp's attorney Camille Vasquez. Remember that cute little number who was representing him?
That's
Johnny
over. Depp.
Yeah.
Wait. Johnny.
She represented Johnny Depp.
Mhm.
She signed on. Her firm signed on to represent Kanye, and then they were like, on second thought.
That whole trial, it was like, is he dating?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, if your attorney is above a 7, and then you go somewhere like into court with her, then TMZ has to spend 6 months going, I bet they're dating. It's like, not everybody who's good looking is fucking each other per se.
What?
There are some professional relationships out there.
Although if you get within 12 feet of Kanye, he may be fucking.
He may get
That's
you.
possible.
Well, that's a compliment.
Well, sources say that when Kanye doubled and then tripled down on the anti-Semitic remarks over the weekend, Camille informed her firm, Brown Rudnick, that she wouldn't work with him. She reportedly said, I'll work with you if you retract all of these anti-Semitic statements. He refused. The relationship ended. Meanwhile, Balenciaga, the fashion house, parted
Garagos
ways.
is in 100%, I'm sure. 'Cause that's his
I'm
move.
going to need to talk to him. Anna Wintour also severed ties. Now all eyes are back on Adidas. That's the billion-dollar partnership they have with the Yeezy shoe line. You probably have seen this, but here's a clip of Kanye from the October 16th appearance on Drink Champs that went viral, where he pretty much challenges Adidas to cut ties with him.
The thing about it, me and Adidas, is like, I could literally say anti-Semitic shit and they can't drop me. I can say anti-Semitic things and Adidas can't drop me. Now what?
Well, I'll tell you now what. Now, the people who agree with him feel so seen and want to be even more visible. I don't know if you were on the 405 this weekend or you saw the tweets, but apparently...
Can I say this? Kanye is the living embodiment of fuck me money.
That's right.
Which means you have a lot more money than fuck you money.
That's right.
And any kids listening right now who strive to get to a point where they can go, I have fuck you money is nice.
Yeah.
But it's not fuck me money.
I'll go down with the
when
ship
you can
and be
fuck
fine.
yourself out of billions of dollars and not care about it, that's fuck me money.
That's right.
Fuck you money is basically going, you're parked in a red zone here. So what? $42? Let's go in and watch the movie.
Yeah.
That's that kind of money. But fuck me money.
Yeah.
You can
That's the good
torpedo
stuff.
billion-dollar brands
Right.
that you own.
You can fund cancer research, or you can torpedo.
Well, these
You want
comments...
fuck me money.
These comments reportedly...
We don't even know that you have it, Brian.
That's right.
That's what I'm saying.
We don't.
They reportedly prompted banners to be hung from a bridge off the 405. People speculate it was at the La Tijera exit. It says, honk if you know Kanye was right about the Jews, with 7 people in face coverings giving the Nazi salute. They also apparently have a TV station that I won't be megaphoning for
Adam
them.
knows what it is.
That's right.
Yeah.
If you already know, you already know. So now they feel, that Kanye has their back, and that's awesome.
Well,
With an American flag.
all right.
Bible quotes. This is great.
Yeah.
Couple things. I know all this stuff is outrageous.
It's irritating.
But you can still, if you can only muster 7 people, that's still good. We're still in good shape. It's when they shut down traffic, and because there's millions or thousands of people took the bridge. Dr. Drew drove past this.
Oh, really?
And he went onto their website.
Signed up immediately.
He said,
applied.
Well, he couldn't tell if it was. Now, here's the problem. And this is the problem we're talking about. This is probably true, but there's a lot of hoaxes now. And there's been many instances where, like, those guys from the Oath Keepers showed up at the Republican guys' rally. And it's like, those weren't Oath Keeper guys. Those were Democrats posing as Oath Keeper guys.
These are Jews
who showed up. No, I'm sure this is, but it doesn't for sure mean in this weird race theater we've entered into that it is. But he went to their website, said it looked pretty weird.
Well, I'm glad he saw it, because I spent a lot of yesterday trying to figure out where this was and going, if somebody doesn't give me a cross street or an exit, I'm not even believing this happened. This could have been from anywhere. So I'm glad it was confirmed, because the news picked it up, but just from the picture. So I still didn't have anything to like go off of.
Drew went to the website. Now, look, how many people driving underneath these guys, given the Heil Hitler sign, waved because they're under the age of 30 and have no fucking idea about history and Nazi Germany? How many truckers gave a honk? Like 23-year-old Hispanic trucker guy.
More than I'm comfortable with.
Right back at you.
Hey, bro.
Yeah, because the Jews is written in blue, and you just see the Jews, and you go, love the Jews.
Oh, and by the way, and I should pull up the picture, apparently, because this happened in my neighborhood maybe a year ago, but the same weekend on the west side, like Brentwood, over there, more leaflets were distributed with pictures of Jews, like, I guess that all work for Disney, with stars of David on their foreheads, and that they're all pedophiles, and that they're all...
Really?
Oh, yeah. Because remember, the ones I got had like a bunch of sand in it with a leaflet, so it would weigh it down, and the Ziploc baggie wouldn't fly away.
We started in Brentwood, ended up in Westwood.
I understand.
That's right. Yeah.
So that's great. And I was talking to my husband about this.
This is Skirball 405. This is right where Ennis Cosby, Bill Cosby's kid, was killed those years ago.
I don't know if there's a connection.
96 or 7.
Gina was saying this is Lottie Hara, which is down by
That's
the
what it
airport.
was. That's what it was tweeted to be.
Oh.
Drew, I dispatched Drew to figure out what this place was.
I believe Drew if he saw it firsthand.
He told me it was 405 Skirball, and he said New Bridge.
I'm trying to think what bridge is there.
Well,
that's the one that when they shut down the highway. What do they call it? Carmageddon.
Yes.
Yeah, this is the Carmageddon bridge.
I'm glad someone's using it.
So that is Skirball-y?
It must be.
Yeah, okay.
And I see stuff like this, and I'm wondering if maybe there's something wrong with me, because this doesn't scare me in the least. This is irritating, and it doesn't bode well. But isn't this kind of always how it starts?
Are you Jewish?
No, but you have to have people
shut
join.
this shit down, right?
You have to have people join. I don't think people.
If I see 14 people next week, I'm going to freak out.
It starts. Then
we'll know. Let's talk about Salman Rushdie. Remember when he got attacked on stage?
Yeah.
We have a health update. He has
stabbed numerous times,
lost sight in one eye and the ability to move one hand after he was attacked at a New York literary event in August. During the attack, Rushdie was stabbed 3 times in the neck, 15 times in the chest and torso. Rushdie had been the subject of death threats since his 1988 publication of the Satanic Verses, a novel viewed by some Islamic communities as blasphemous for its satirical treatment of the Prophet Muhammad. Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Khomeini, issued a fatwa against Rushdie in 1989, but he went into hiding. He's been fine until this 24-year-old attacker rushed the stage and stabbed him multiple times and implied it was motivated by Rushdie's stance on Islam. So, as Adam Carolla often says, what year is it?
Yeah. And also, it's always great because whenever they'll always go interview some religious leader from whoever made the fatwa, and they'll go like, "Yep, it's good." That must be awesome. just the way you sail through life.
Yeah,
he's an author, and he was stabbed in the neck by a maniac who wasn't even born when the fatwa was initially issued, and you got no beef with that.
Yeah,
it's a good thing.
I think Salman might want to have a little meeting with security. 27 stabs. Like, at what point do you?
Okay, but let me say something. It's like, first off, evidently, you can peel off 27 puncture wounds in 3.5 seconds. Like, it's like a chihuahua fucking from behind. You know, it's just like ding, 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 ding. I mean, you have no, like, if I did a thing where you counted to 3 Mississippi, I could do this 28 times in 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Like number one. Number two, what I've learned about security is security. So we all get the part with the cops. Like, you go, the cops, when you're behind the counter at a 7-Eleven in a bad part of town and a guy comes in with a gun, the cops show up to put the tape up around and then outline your body. But they're not there.
They're intervening.
They don't really get between you and the whatever. And in terms of comedians on stage or authors on stage or whatever, whoever the nut job is gets one shot.
Yeah.
The security shows up and pull. How many singers have you seen on stage where it's like they're on stage and the fan comes up? Sometimes they'll hug them. Sometimes they'll kiss them or whatever they'll do. But you get the one shot and then the security shows up. But if that person's there to hug you, then it's an annoyance. Then the security shows up and they throw them off stage. But if they're there to stab you,
do you remember
the over/under on punctures is going to be about 17?
Yeah. You remember at the Grammys when Bob Dylan was singing and the guy came up and he ripped his shirt off and it said "soy bomb" and he danced for another 30 seconds or so.
He was there for a while.
Yeah. I think that guy was nude. Was he nude or was it just a shirt off?
No, he just took his shirt off.
Oh, the nude guy was another guy, the streaker at the Academy Awards or whatever.
Soy bomb was there for a while, but long enough to like know what it said and like.
Let's find soy bomb guy.
What's he
doing up there?
There he is.
Distinctly says soy bomb across his chest.
The one that I'll always remember is, and it's what gave way to that big fight with Third Eye Blind versus Green Day at the Weenie Roast. One of the bass player for the Green Day was playing, and I think the bass player for Third Eye Blind, who was just standing in the wings, you'd go watch the bands you wanted at the Weenie Roast at Irvine if you're part of the show. He did this kind of comical, theatrical thing where he came out from the wings, the Third Eye Blind bass player, and pretended like he was an adoring, nutty fan and like came up behind the bass player, Mike Dirnt, I think his name is. He came up behind the Green Day guys like, woo. But he's in a band and he was there and he didn't charge the stage or anything. And the Third Eye, this is punk, man. The Green Day bass player, I guess pretty hard-edged dude. He initially was like, what the fuck? Someone got on stage. Right. And then he turned and he saw it was the Third Eye Blind guy. And he was like, oh, okay. We've had that thing at you're at a restaurant. There's some comedian friend of yours and it, comes up and goes, are you Fitz, dog? And you turn around. Oh, hey, it's you. Yeah, I get it. You're making fun of it. And he turned and he looked at the guy and he was like, oh, it's the guy from the other band, not. And the huge Samoan security guard came out sort of with no context because he didn't, the guard didn't really know who anyone was. Well, he knew what his job was. Right. And he just kind of looked at him and gave him the look like, yeah, give him the treatment. And the guy
haircut.
beat the shit out of the Third Eye Blind guy. And then the Third Eye Blind guy, I was there for this whole thing. Once he got roughed up and thrown off the stage, hid behind one of the trailers where the bands, when they come off stage and make their way back there, just busted Mike Dirnt over the face with a bottle.
No
shit. Broke him, skull fracture.
Really?
To go to the hospital. Not one of these, I was feared for he threatened. He put his hands on me. He was open hand. No, bottle. Busted overhead, emergency room, skull fracture.
The Green Day bassist got a skull fracture.
Yes.
Wow.
From being hit over the head from the Third Eye Blind. I think it was the bass player that did that.
Yeah.
And I was standing there watching the whole thing because I was like, I love Green Day. I'm going to go watch Green Day. And I stood in the wings and saw the guy was standing next to me. He just walked right out. And then later on, when Green Day got off stage, I just started walking back to the trailer. And I was like, oh, shit. Boom. Bottle.
Damn.
Over the head.
What'd you do? You scream, what are you doing?
What's
here?"
going on? No, I knew exactly what was going on. Yeah, skull fracture.
Wow.
Damn.
Bottle busted over his head.
Jesus.
Good show.
That's punk, though, man,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
Keep it real.
Yeah, I don't know what Mike, the bass player from Green Day, was thinking because it wasn't, I think the big bouncer guy kind of grabbed him and he just looked at him and went like, yeah, do it. Take over. Like, do what you do.
You know why I 100% believe you? Because all those years ago when we had that big debate about The Revenant, the movie, did Leonardo DiCaprio slow blink at Tom Hardy, and you were the only one who said he did.
That's right. Well, he did.
I believe that you saw this.
I saw it, and I don't know. There's more of that story, right? I mean, it was K-Rock kind of tried to sweep it under the carpet because this wasn't a good look for the weenie roast, but it definitely. You have the MTV report. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Sorry,
it's from
Gina.
1998. Green Day's Mike Dirnt suffered a skull fracture Saturday following a scuffle with a member of fellow Bay Area band Third Eye Blind at Los Angeles radio station K-Rock's annual Weenie Roast. The pop-punk bassist suffered the head injury and was hospitalized after being struck over the head with a beer bottle during the show at Irvine Meadows Amphitheater in Southern California, according to a source close to the band who preferred anonymity. However, it is unclear who hit the musician over the head and caused the injury. Green Day's official fan website reported that the injury was a result of the altercation with Third Eye Blind's bassist Arian Salazar. However, according to Third Eye Blind spokesperson Russell Bloom, it was an overzealous fan attempting to come to the defense of Salazar, who struck the 26-year-old Dirnt with the beer bottle.
That's the sound it made when he hit him, by the way.
By the way, there weren't fans backstage.
Yeah, how would they get there?
You would have had to be a road manager or a tech guy, so I don't think it was a fan.
The fight between Salazar and Dirnt began after Green Day's set as a part of the Weenie Roast, Bloom said, when Salazar ran on stage and bear-hugged Dirnt. The Green Day bassist, apparently surprised by Salazar, then allegedly kicked and hit Salazar, leading to the scuffle on stage and later backstage after the show.
I lightened the story.
right.
The big Samoan bouncer, grabbed him and wrestled him down, and Mike, instead of like looking at the guy and waving him off, booted it, but kicked the guy in the ribs.
Yeah.
Some guys are really serious about their art.
Shit.
Yeah.
In a statement released by Third Eye Blind's management, Salazar said, quote, "I am sorry that my attempt at doing something I thought would be funny escalated into Mike getting hurt. That was never my intention. I simply had too much to drink and made a very bad decision."
He was drunk.
It wasn't even a bad decision. It was like kind of funny.
Yeah.
It's a festival.
The fans love that.
And if you were up doing stand-up, a few years ago, and Bob Saget came up behind you, got like whatever, your initial will be like, what the fuck? And then you go, oh, it's fellow comedian, fellow
Bob
bass player.
Saget was about to go up one night at the Laugh Factory in Hollywood, and before he went, he used to close with a guitar. And so he was on stage and he was running way long, and I had another set to get to, so I got kind of pissed off. So I cranked all the pegs on his guitar. I completely untuned it, and he called for his guitar, and they brought it up to the stage, and he hit the first chord, and it was like, wah! And he just went, "Good night, everybody. Thank you."
It worked.
And I made my 11:15 at the Improv.
That's what's important.
Yeah.
I suspect Fitzdog did that to me, a version of that to me once at the Laugh Factory. And I don't play a guitar, but I'm pretty sure he told everyone not to laugh or applause so we could just kind of roll the set along without all the breaks and the knowing nods and the
don't laugh, pass it on.
pauses and all the breaks. Just tamp it down.
You got him, Greg.
Yeah, cross
I saw
your
you back
arms,
there.
be judgmental.
You were the only one laughing. I remember seeing that. I was like, what is he laughing at? And I realized, this one, I got played.
You got Fitzdog.
Like Saget's guitar. All right, let's bring it home, Gina Grad.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
Gina Grad. That was the news with Gina Grad.
All right. Yeah, go to amcroll.com for all the live shows if you'd like. We're coming to San Diego this coming weekend. What the hell do I do with Fitzdog's plugs here? I got too many plugs. I got Tortorich. Thank you. You can go to the website gregfitzsimmons.com because he's going to be in San Francisco at the Punchline coming up November 3rd through the 5th, and then Side Splitters in Tampa, Florida. That's coming up November 17th through the 19th, and listen to the podcast. Fitzdog Radio as well. Erin Coscarelli, EntertainHER is the pod. Check that out. Vinnie Tortorich, Beyond Impossibles, available for rent, or you can purchase it on Amazon. And until next time, this is Adam for Fitzdog and Erin Coscarelli and Vinnie Tortorich and Paul Bryan and Gina Grad. Say it. Mahalo.